Hello, everybody. Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. Today is Sunday, Sew Sunday, where I hope that you will sew this Sunday with me. So I'm trying to get this chat thing pulled up, but it's taking a minute. It's taking a second. There we go, right there. So hello, everybody. Let's see, just a quick scroll over. Candy, Sheila, Ann, Linda, Leah, Mary, Vicky, Katie, Robin, Janice, Nancy, Mary, Tony, Reva, I'm not sure. Janice, Milena, the quilting lady, Delia, Jim, Patrice, Milena, Jill, Paula, Tony, Sherry, Judy, Sandra, and everybody else. Hello and welcome. Happy Halloween, even though it's tomorrow, but today on Tiffany's Quilting Life, we're celebrating it today. Today is our lovely Halloween day where I shall make a bag out of, hold on, let me open it all the way because it's easier when I do it that way. Zombie fabric. Isn't that wonderful? Scary zombie fabric today. Look at that. Aren't these zombies just adorable? Yeah. Anyway, so today we're going to sew a bag with zombie fabric. And this is going to have to go back some. I'm just trying not to touch the thing with it because you're not going to see my head if I do that. All right. Sorry about the camera movement. So I'm just using this. It's only gray and black, and the like color that looks white in here isn't white. It's actually like a gray color. So I pulled a gray bolt and a black bolt. The gray is going to be my lining, and the black is going to be my accent on the outside. I'm pretty sure it'll look just fine because I'm not making anything fancy, and I'm making it up as I go. So you guys know that with making it up as I go kind of bags, I usually tell you what I'm cutting and how big or small I'm cutting something. So I do have a little bit of fabric here, and I'm only needing a certain amount. And since it's directional, I'm actually going to cut a larger piece because I kind of want on my bag a big portion of the zombies to be right there, front and center of the front of the bag. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just cut off a nice big portion of it, and I can get my front and back part of the bag from just that section. And if you guys are curious, the line, it's 2013, and it's Zombie by D. Leon Designs Group, the Alexander Henry Fabric Collection. But again, it's 2013, so you probably might have to, if you want to find something like this, you might have to search on Etsy, because that's where you find stuff that they don't sell anymore. All right, we need a rotary cutter and a ruler, a big ruler. And I'm going to cut about right here because that's the top of this section right here. And that's where the repeat is going to start. So I'm just going to cut a nice straight line right here. And that will be, whatever's on that is what I'm using for today's bag. So the rest of it, I'm just going to fold it up and out of the way to work on it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up so I can see how many repeats so that the front and the back of the bag are sort of equal. What are you going to use in the inside? I'm going to use gray. So the inside fabric, I don't like to put black fabric on the inside of a bag, nor do I like to put the super print inside of a bag because you don't see inside of the bag. So it really doesn't matter what you put in it, but if you put a dark fabric, it's inevitably going to be super dark inside your purse. So the lighter the fabric you put inside your purse, the better. So I'm going to put this gray inside, and then my black will be for my strap and accent on the outside of the bag. So we're just going to get started by cutting out this section right here. I want this zombie guy and that zombie guy. So whatever comes out right there, we're going to go with it. So as long as I have at least a 1/4 inch on that side, or a 1/2 inch, I should say, on either side. It's going to be a pretty big bag, like a tote bag. So I'm just going to go with it. Oops, right there. So far, the width is 14.5 inches. So we're going to grab that same 14.5 inches on this side. I need an iron plugged in and on because this is super wrinkled. I'm going to match this guy up just like this, so where the fabric matches, matching up the spots. There we go, just like that. And I'm going to cut the fabric to match so that the back and the front of the bag will be exactly the same. I'm going to go on this side. I'm lining the ruler up with my previous cut. And those will be the sides. And now I can't get that fabric because it knocked off the desk.
You want me to get it?
You're going to hit everything. There's no way. It's fine.
Well, yeah, you got the giant iron board here. I can't walk over there.
All right, so now I'm going to line up the top. No, I don't need it. And cut that off. And now we're going to line this up on my cutting mat. Yeah. Where's the yardstick? It's way over there. All right, now I'm going to cut it to the size that I can get right here, which is 14 inches. So initially this bag is the outside of the bag, the two front and back, because we're making this up as we go, are 14 by 14.5 inches. I get 1 inch squares out of that. I cannot. So I'm starting with 14.5 width because this is directional by 14 inches tall. Hey, why not? So what I'm going to do now is, this is going to be a very big bag. I want to put a 2-inch strip, 2.5 inch. I'm going to do 2.5 inch on either side and on the bottom, which is going to give me the sides and the bottom, and then we'll cut some interfacing to fit. So I'm going to cut this black three 2.5 inch. And I'm just using whatever, I don't know how much yardage you need to start with. Just know that I'm giving the measurements, and you can use scraps, I guess, or whatever you have. So again, the outside of the bag is 14.5 inches wide by 14 inches tall, both the back and front piece so far. That's what we've cut. And now I'm going to cut 3 2.5 inch strips of black as my accent color to keep my bag spooky, zombie, scary. My thing came unhooked. And one more. There we go. So 3 of those. And then I need to subcut 2 sides. So I'm just going to lay these right here. Can you plug an iron in, please?
Where is it?
Right here.
No, you pulled out the little one earlier. I don't know where you want it.
Just use this, please.
It's covered with stuff.
Oh. This one?
I don't know.
Is this the one you like too?
I don't know what you want, Tiffy. I don't know where it went. You pulled it out earlier. Where'd you put it?
It's right there.
Oh. I have no idea. I was doing this.
Sorry, guys. I got to plug in an iron. And now the iron is behind the table.
Well, the ironing board is behind
The
table,
iron
so you
board.
can't walk over here at all. There's no room. There's the plug. I didn't even know that. I'll plug it in.
All right. Don't forget your feet are over it if you stand up. All right, so I'm going to cut my black to be 14 inches. I'm just using the fabric as my guide on the two sides. So I need 2 for each side. I'm going to cut 2 more of those. They're 2.5 inches. We're just making like, it's almost going to be like a tote bag. Oops. There. And this goes here. And then we'll do the top and bottom after we sew the 2 sides. So I'm going to take all of these and these 2 pieces over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew the sides on. So I just need one side at a time. And we're going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'll put my magnetic seam guide here, and I'm going to make sure that I have a good stitch length. Between filming for Sculliver, I've been constantly moving the stitch length back because I need it really small for filming Sculliver, but I needed a regular size for other things. So I've been like back and forth with this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and sew 1 to each side, and then the same with the back panel. Or it doesn't matter which side is which right now. All right, flip it around. And do the other side. All right, now for this one. Is something wrong?
You lift the foot when you change the length?
No, I do not. I just change it. I've never even heard of lifting the foot to change the stitch length. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press these back.
I thought you were taking it over there. Now you're like stepping on the feet. Where's your little cord thing?
Over there.
Yeah.
That's too big for that.
Well, come on here. You have no room in your room.
All right. It's going to be a nice big book bag size bag. Okay. Now, it should be 18 3/4 of an inch. 18 3/4. I am going to straighten the top and bottom because they weren't very straight when I sewed my pieces on. And one more side. And then we're going to sew a top and a bottom on.
That's a creepy fabric.
It is, isn't it? I love it. All right, so now we're going to cut our bottom pieces off of this last strip, which is our third strip, and it should be plenty big enough.
That fabric was from a fan, right?
No, this fabric is from the thrift store.
Oh.
I got this at Veterans Thrift.
Okay.
Not Veterans Thrift, Hospice Thrift.
Okay, well, they're asking.
Yeah, I found it at the hospice store. All right, so I have two pieces now, one for this and one for that. I'm going to sew one to each of these.
Oh, Becky made zombie bags out of Walking Dead t-shirts. That's an idea.
Oh, yeah. Walking Dead t-shirts. Heck
I
yeah.
like that.
All right, let's sew one onto this one. I'm sewing it onto the bottom. All right, now I'm going to press that on both of these. I'm just going to press those back, and then I'm going to grab some interfacing. So here's one. It's going to be a nice size tote bag.
What kind of bag is this?
We're making like a tote style bag.
Yeah.
It's just making it up as I go. There's no directions really, just whatever I tell you. So it was a 14-inch tall by 14.5-inch wide focal, and then my accent sewn around three sides. I cut three 2.5-inch strips of black, and now my front and my back. One, I'm going to put a slip pocket on. That'll be good. Mr. Zombie Man right here. I'm going to make a slip pocket out of this scrap piece that came from cutting it out.
So you're not doing a purse, you're doing it
like a bag, yeah.
Grocery, like going to the store bag?
Yeah. Like a tote bag.
Oh, okay.
This is pretty big to be a purse. Oops. All right, so I'm going to straighten this up, this piece, and then I'll tell you what it turns out when I straighten it up. And this is just going to be a little front slip pocket. Let's see right here on the line. 6, 7.
There's a question. Do you like coffee or tea when quilting?
I don't drink either coffee or tea. I actually just drink water, or I don't drink anything at all.
Once in a while you do juice.
Once in a while I drink juice. All right.
I like some cranberry juice.
Yeah, I like cranberry juice. Where was I? So 7.5 by 14.25. And I'm going to sew this wrong sides together on 3 sides. I'm going to leave an opening though to turn it. One more, right there. So I'm going to break thread and then make a little opening. I'm going to turn it after I cut my little corners. All right, so I'm going to flip that out. And this will be the front slip pocket. I still need to get some interfacing out though. But I'm going to do this little pocket real quick. That way it's ready to be sewn on. I'm going to sew it on after putting the interfacing on the bag. So I'm going to go over and press this, and then when I sew it on, that's when I'll be sealing it shut. I do need my little shank because my corners
Shank, I love it.
wasn't pushed out enough. So you definitely need your little prison shank so you can push things out. Oh, that one was crisp and that one was crisp. It's just these 2 bottom ones. I'm going to take it back to the iron real quick now that I've pushed them out a little.
Teresa says there was an elk in her backyard today after her life.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Did you sew the pocket right sides together or wrong sides?
Right sides together and then sewed. I had a fold at the top, so I folded my 14 1/4 by 7, whatever I said, 7 1/2. Did I say 7 1/2? Yeah. 7 1/2 by 14 1/4 longwise together, folded the 2 ends up. The one side at the fold, you don't need to sew anything because that's going to just be a top stitch right now. The other 3 sides I sewed around, up, stop, leave a gap, and then sewed the rest of the way after that so that I can flip it out. So now I have an opening that will get sealed when I'm ready. So it should be a 6-inch by pretty much 7-inch piece. But for now, I'm just going to stitch the side that had the fold because that would be right side up with an 1/8 of an inch seam top stitch. Come on, my little loose thread. All right, and that's ready, but we need interfacing now for the outside of the bag so that it's kind of a little bit stiffer or else it's like super duper soggy soft. I'm going to grab some 911 FFW1, which I don't think they sell it that way anymore. This is the Pellon 911 FFW1, but I don't think they call it that anymore. I think it's just 911 FF. All right.
Isn't it just Pellon 911?
Yeah. Well, fusible featherweight is what it means, so that's what the FF means. So I'm going to cut this to size of the whole entire thing because just need it to be this size. So my whole entire top panel and back panel, I'm going to get 2 pieces that are exactly that size. I'm going to turn it and cut this side equal.
Rebecca uses Pellon 809. You ever tried that one?
Yeah, I think so. I've tried them all. All right, so I'm just going to move that out of the way for now.
Apparently it works.
And then we're going to put another one on this one. right. Just laying it on here and cutting it to size. Because to me, that's easier than trying to cut out a piece. Cut this side off. We're going to still use it because I'm going to use it in the straps when I make the straps. All right, so I'm going to take this over to the iron, and the bumpy side should be the side touching the fabric because the bumpy side is the glue side, and that's the way I laid it on here.
Can you use the Pellon stuff for a log cabin?
If you want to, I don't know. I would use like 101 if you're going to try to fuse a log cabin and sew it. That's going to be some really thick seams, though, if you do it that way. You definitely want to watch your seams when doing it. That they do make, though, iron-on stabilizer that you can sew on first. I forgot the name of it, but they do make it. It does exist. Just takes a second. This is quite a large piece to get the glue on it. Okay, there's one. And here's number 2. I'm going to press this one, and then we'll make some straps and cut some lining fabric. All right. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, and my other mat is not going to be big enough to do this with it. All right, so both pieces now have interfacing, and one of them is going to get my slip pocket for the front. So I'm going to make sure.
Have you ever done a quilt with fusible grid sheets?
Fusible grid sheets? No. All right, I'm going to line this up somewhere on here. Let's see. That's the top of his head if I want it to be equal with the picture. It won't be center if I equal it with the picture, but I kind of want it equal with the picture. If I did the back side, it would be down here. It'd be a really low pocket. I think I'm just going to set it on here because one side you see all of the zombie stuff and the other side you don't. So I'm just going to center it on here and top stitch it. Let's put it center, and I'm going to come down 3.5 inches and center. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's right here. Okay, that is my center. Right there and right there. So I'm going to stitch down the 2 sides, which is going to seal my opening and around the bottom. So I'm just going to leave it just like this. I'm not going to move anything. Just going to stitch it on. And I'm going to make sure that I tack it at the top good so that you can open the pocket a bazillion times and not get a rip it off. Stitching 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, and I'm also back stitching right here at the bottom so that anything you put in the pocket does not fall out of the pocket. I am using black thread, so there I have a slip pocket on the front, right there, of my zombie bag, or the back. It doesn't matter what side it is. It's just a slip pocket. And I need to iron this again because it's not very, I don't know what the word is.
Have you ever tried Crystal Light in water?
Crystal Light in water?
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like it. It's like Kool-Aid kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't really like much, guys. I like water. Water and bacon. If I could survive off of water and bacon only, that would be my life.
Bacon is good.
Yes. I eat bacon all the time. Bacon is my thing, and I drink lots and lots of water.
Oh, Heather sent $5 to PayPal.
Oh, thank you, Heather. All right. Now to cut some straps and some lining. So my straps are going to be black. So I'm going to cut some 4-inch strips. I'm going to cut 2 because I want a little bit longer of a strap.
Now they want to know if you like chocolate.
I actually don't eat much chocolate. I do like it, but chocolate gives me a stomach ache.
Just go with bacon.
Yeah, bacon is my thing. If you want to give me a treat, that's bacon all the way.
It is one of our
tag things. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to cut 2 because I think I want some really long straps for this. Not like super long, but long enough. They're 4-inch strips. And I'm going to use, don't block that because I'm going to need that. I'm going to open them up. And I'm also going to bring this next to me. I'm going to stack them on top of each other so I can cut them at the same time. So they're 4 inches by, let's lay this on the bag and see. That should be good. What is that? Right there. By 26.5 inches. So 4 inches by 26.5. And I'm going to cut this off right here.
Tell Linda Halloween's tomorrow.
Halloween is tomorrow.
Our town does a thing on Main Street.
And here the town does everything on Main Street. So this is what they do here in Havasu, Lake Havasu, Arizona, if you guys didn't know. Main Street is like the older buildings of the town, and there's little shops and everything. There's tons of little shops and diners and whatever. They line that whole entire street from one of the other main streets. So probably a mile?
Yeah, I don't think it's that long.
Maybe it's like 3/4 of a mile. It's not quite a mile, but it literally has a hill. It's like a hill almost.
Just a
so
section of the main
slight
street.
grade.
We used to walk up and down it every day. And walk 2 miles.
So you walk
maybe 1 mile. Maybe
one side all the way up and go to all the little booths that give out candy from all the shops. Other shops come over from in town. They all just line up these big tent things and decorate them with spooky stuff. And then all the kids, and then they have like a bounce house jumpy area, and they have a little maze thing. It's not like horribly crazy or anything. It's just a little maze that the little kids can run through. And they set up all sorts of cool stuff for little kids. And then they just give out candy, and the little kids go in a line up the street and then back down the street to trick or treat. And it's really cute. And it also saves on children going door to door, getting essentially something bad could happen if you're not paying attention. So it saves from that happening. The parents walk with the children. Everybody dresses up. Everybody has fun. But it's very, there's only
Crowded.
like, it's very crowded. And there's only 2 real neighborhoods, and it's the golf course area. And even kids don't really trick or treat as much over in those areas anymore. It's mainly from toddler still in a stroller all the way up to adulthood go and trick or treat on the Main Street McCulloch, because it's just easier and safer that way. And they have music playing and all sorts of stuff. It's pretty cool. All right. 4 inches by 26.5 inches is what I cut my straps to be. We still have to cut the the lining too, but we'll get to that. I need this right here because we're going to cut 2 strips off of this interfacing real quick so that we can put it in our straps. Stay that way, please. Thank you. I'm going to cut 2 almost 2-inch strips. So almost 2-inch. Not quite, because I need to allow some room for folding when you guys see how straps are folded. I have plenty of videos on what I do when I cut my strapping for inside of handles. I do it differently than other people. There's 2. I'm going to cut a 3rd one, and that'll be half for each piece, because this is only 20 inches. So I need 26 inches per. So I just need 6 for each of the other 2. And I think I'm going to add batting so that it is a little bit more. I'm going to grab some scrap batting and add a little bit of batting to the bag itself and quilt it on there. So we're going to start by folding this in half to get a line so that I know where my center is. So there's my center. And then open it up and fold each side in towards the center. And this is to make a 1-inch strap, by the way, this way of doing it.
Oh, this one person says their zoo hosts a big trick or treat night now. That would be
awesome.
Awesome.
Trick or treat at a zoo. Wow, that would be awesome.
Would be cool.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, we'd go to that as adults.
Yeah, I'd go to it as an adult, of course. Can I dress up as a tiger and go play in the tiger bin?
I don't know about that.
In the tiger cage?
Get eaten.
I'd get eaten.
You're too skinny. They wouldn't want there's no meat on your bones.
They wouldn't want to eat me. I would be too delicious. I would taste like bacon. All right. Once I have that, I open it back up and I stick my almost 2-inch strap piece in that center. And the reason why I say almost 2 inches is because I cut it like 1 7/8. That allows me to have a little bit of the fold so that this still stays center. So when the strap is folded in half, it's still center in there. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this side on first. And then we'll cut 6 more inches off of this guy. And go the rest of the way. And then we'll repeat the process with piece number 2. And if you guys are thinking about ever getting a Panasonic iron, do not get the aluminum metal one. Get the one that is porcelain. Not porcelain. Did I say porcelain? Yes, porcelain. Ceramic. That's the word. Get the ceramic one.
I can't think.
The ceramic base. Because this doesn't last very long. I always have to put it back on the heating element. All right, so I'm going to cut this to size, just like that. And I'm going to fold it the rest of the way and heat it. I've seen a lot of people, they put the interfacing on the whole entire strap, which makes it kind of thick when you're going to put it in a strap thing. I'm not putting this in a strap thing, but I definitely don't want it that thick with all that interfacing. So it's nice and stiff either way you do it. And then once that is in there.
There's a zoo in Seattle that offers sleepovers for Boy Scout and Girl Scout type groups, for school groups.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, school. I mean, it's a zoo that has sleepovers for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Now I'm folding it in half on top of itself now, just like you would with binding. And ironing it down and getting it ready to stitch. But I'm going to make the other one first before I do that. I'm also going to go dig over there for some scrappy batting. All right, so now I'm going to fold this one in half. Get my line so I know where I'm lining it up to. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up, fold each side into the center. This is how I do all my straps for all my bags. All right, one side, flip it over, do the other. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend this weekend. Me and Scott have just been hanging out.
Selling things for your friends.
Selling things. Selling things. We're getting ready to have, so my birthday is Friday, and what better way to spend my birthday than at home and having a yard sale.
Yeah,
so next Friday and Saturday, we are having a yard sale, and Scott said, well, you can have whatever you want to eat after the yard sale. We'll spoil you. And I said, I want Panda Express. So I'm going to have Panda after we have a yard sale on Friday for my birthday. But yeah, you know, and the cool part is I always meet at least one quilter every yard sale who becomes a new long arm client. So I'm looking forward to finding out who my next long arm client is going to be. Just because we meet them at the yard sale.
That's a good idea, actually, yes. Long arm clients from yard selling, yep.
Yep.
How many fat quarters does it take to make a queen size quilt?
Probably like 16 to 20, depending on what
how many
pattern.
yards does it take to make a quilt?
It takes a lot for the front and back.
Okay. You just take that divided by 4.
You're looking at least.
Or I mean, time to divide more.
12 yards for the front because it's getting pieced and chopped up and so on, so you lose a little bit. And that's mixed between whatever it is you're using. And for the back, for a queen size, if it's like 96 by 108, I always use a 108 fabric for the back. So that's 3 yards right there. But if you're using piece yardage, you're looking at 9.5 yards for your back. So that's a lot of yardage between the top and the back.
Well, fat quarter is a quarter of a yard. So you take
Yeah.
however many yards you need and just multiply it by 4. So if you
Yep.
need 10 yards, then you need 40 fat quarters.
Yep. It also depends, though, on your background fabric that you're using. So if you're using a totally separate background fabric, you know, got to count that in. But if you're just strictly using fat quarters, you know, and you're not really chopping them up much, then I would say 16 to 20 fat quarters will cover a queen size bed.
You're all saying happy early birthday to you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I probably won't come on my birthday. Usually I do every year. I come on live stream for my birthday, but since we're going to be yard sailing all day, and
do a mail opening.
I mean, I could probably do a mail opening or something or whatever.
Well, we have mail that we haven't opened.
Yeah, I have mail that's just sitting, waiting to be opened. All right, so now that those are sewn, I'm going to take and stitch the opening closed and then come back up the opposite side. So I'm going to go ahead and change my stitch length to a 10 stitches per inch, which is the 3. And stitch 1/8 of an inch. Down one side, and I could have done both pieces, but I didn't. And then back down the other. And no, I did not use foot. I just sew with the regular foot all the time. All right, so my straps are now ready. So there's 2 straps that are ready. Now I'm going to go behind Scotty and find some batting real quick. I need a pretty big chunk.
Are you going to be able to get through here?
Yep. I'm skinny. I could fit.
You're skinny patootie in there.
Yep. Okay, that one's not big enough, but this one is most likely big enough. Shoot, that's big enough for a baby quilt right there.
Yeah, that's huge. You really want to cut that down?
Well, I'm going to cut right off the edge right here. It should be enough for 2.
Catherine gave you $10 for your birthday dinner.
Aw, thank you. Very much appreciated. I go cheap. When I go out to eat, guys, I eat Panda Express, or we eat stuff like, you know, cheap stuff. And now we're like getting ready to exclude Arby's off of our thing because Arby's prices went too high. It's like, what the heck? We can't afford much, so. Because YouTube is not a money-making business. My long arming is not a money-making business, but, you know, we make do with what we have. All right, so I'm going to just line this up on these and cut 2 out, 2 worth out. Because I'm going to quilt them. I want it to be a little bit thicker, just a little bit thicker. Let's grab this guy. Go. There we go. There we go.
Said Subway prices. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Last month.
We went last month to Subway, and yes, they have raised their prices too. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? I can go to the grocery store and get a thing of ham, a thing of bread, and a thing of cheese, and I already have mayonnaise and mustard. I mean, everybody does. And if you want vegetables, go to the vegetable section, get some vegetables for it, and you can literally make your own at home every day for a whole entire week for the same price as one sandwich in one day. I'm like,
okay, but the Subway was still good.
yeah,
You
it's still
liked it.
good though.
You liked
It's still
it.
good though.
You enjoyed it. Just like Arby's, you still love them curly
I
fries.
still love my curly fries. Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious. Maureen gave you $10 too.
Oh, thank you.
You don't have to give
You
us
guys
money.
don't have to give any money. All right, so I'm going to stitch. What I'm going to do is I will trim away after the fact. Okay. I'm going to stitch in the ditch around this first before the batting starts turning my black fabric white because, you know, it'll start turning. And I'm going to stitch that down first, and then I'm going to do a couple lines in it. I'm going to leave my stitch length at a 3, which is 10 stitches per inch. And I'm just holding it flat and smoothing it out as I go. No one ever said it's going to be perfect. It never is. I just hold it neatly. I kind of thought about leaving Scotty here all by his lonesome and going to a couple of the yard sales out, you know, when people post it in the white sheet, going to a couple of them and seeing if any of them have fabric. But there's not very many yard sales this week.
Well, this year there hasn't been many.
Yeah.
Normally our town gets anywhere from 50 to 70 one week.
Yeah, we usually have a lot, but there's only 20 different yard sales.
Yeah, last week there was somewhere in the 8 or even 15 last week.
I don't think so. But I get lucky every time I go to yard sales. Now that I'm a quilter, I find quilty stuff. All right, so I went around the black. Now I'm going to stitch around the pockets. Not a lot of stitching. It's just a little bit of stitching. So I'm going to stitch around the pocket as like a whole entire square around it. Not the pocket, though. I'm stitching a 1/4 inch away from it. I'm using the pocket as my guide. One more stitch. Turn it.
Catherine says looking for fabric because you don't have any.
Yep, because I need no more fabric.
You never have enough fabric, Tiffany.
I can never have enough.
Yeah.
I do use a lot of fabric though, guys. If you guys could believe it, I go through so much. I do my donation quilts every year, and I do quilts that I sell to make money to help support my channel and, you know, our life. And then I also do I do donation long arming services every year, which I already did. So I don't have to worry about it this year. It'll be next year. But I mean,
with Donna, give you $10 too.
oh, thank you, Donna. You didn't have to do that.
Birthday, Chica.
All right, so now I'm stitched around that. Where did I put? Oh, there they are. Let's grab my little snips. And now I'm going to stitch. I'm going to pretend that there's a line to stitch on. I'm just stitching. I'm having fun with my quilting. How about that? Come on, stay. We're just going to guesstimate. Just holding it nice and flat. Huh?
What day did we mail her thing?
Yesterday, no, not yesterday, before yesterday? No. Yeah.
Thursday, Friday?
We mailed it, Donna. I gave you tracking.
Karen, I mean.
Oh, Karen's, I mailed hers, and that was 2 days ago.
We sent her the tracking, though.
Yep, I sent the tracking.
I know we did. I was there reading it off when Tiff sent it.
Yep, we sent tracking info. All right, now that I stitched that, I'm going to echo it a 1/4 inch away on inside of it because I'm having so much fun just doing whatever. This is the fun part about just making things up as you go because you're just doing whatever.
Tell her it should be there on Tuesday.
Should be there on Tuesday is what Scotty said.
For Karen.
For Karen. One more stitch. There we go. One more, right there.
Great.
Thank you, Nancy. All right, now I'm going to stitch one little more stitch this way, and I'm going to try to like meet up right before the other one. This is going to be, let's see if I can do it. So a 1/4 inch before that, right there. I'm going to turn it. I'm literally going to try to repeat this on the other one. Let's see if I can even do that. All right. And then I should stitch in the black area. No, I'm not going to stitch in the black area because that's all going to get sewn together. All right, I'm going to do this one now, and I'm going to try to repeat everything. Even though there's no pocket on this one, I'm going to still do the same exact stitching. I'm going to attempt it because it looks cool.
Kitty says you should quilt some ghosts and the print around the pockets.
I don't know how to do ghosts.
Should I show the Jack Skellington thing you were going to do today, but you didn't know how to do skulls on it? That was pretty cool looking.
It's behind you in the closet.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can get through here.
Yeah, it's the purple thing right there. Over, the other way, right there.
One?
Yes.
Yes. I got to show them this. They've seen it before, but I'll show them again.
You guys have seen this one before. I have had this since last year. It came from Becca, and I was going to quilt it today for, you got to come this way. I was going to quilt it today for Halloween on the long arm and do a long arm video with you guys, but stop wiggling it. I have to turn it sideways to do it. And he's like, well, I don't know what to quilt in it. I don't know what to quilt in it. And he's like, why don't you do little ghosts or little skulls? And I'm like, I don't know how.
Do skulls. I didn't say anything about.
I don't know how to do a skull yet. I mean, I love skulls and all, and I love the fabric with them, but I don't know how to quilt it. I was just going to echo around everything in the panel, but I didn't want to have to change thread colors.
It's
so
Jack Skellington, just do the little circle with
I was
weird
thinking
sort of smile on it.
a purple thread, and I can just echo around everything. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a zombie bag instead. So that's what today ended up being, is a zombie bag. And that's okay. I'm having fun with the zombie bag, and I'm kind of glad I'm not standing at the long arm.
Goodness gracious, Julie said she put money in PayPal for you.
Aw, thank you.
Goodness, what are you guys all giving us? That's just weird. People don't donate us money. I don't know what to say. So odd.
All right, right there. What else did I? Oh, I echoed around that. I'm going to go around that 1/4 inch away.
What time is your video coming on tomorrow?
My video should be on at 6 a.m. tomorrow. You didn't tell them what it's about, right?
Huh?
You didn't tell them what it's about, right?
I told them they have to watch the video tomorrow to find out the question that's been asked 8 billion times.
Oh, they're asking why my room kind of looks clean, huh?
And why there is no room to walk on the other side of the desk. Absolutely at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil the secret. You guys could just watch tomorrow.
Did you say thank you to the one lady? Because the other lady gave me a
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's Lori. Thank you, Lori.
Nancy gave you money, and then another lady said to check your PayPal today. You hear me, Dad? Shirley said to check
Shirley.
your PayPal.
Okay, Shirley, thank you. Are we trick-or-treating? No, Eric, I'm not trick-or-treating. I'm just making a zombie bag for Halloween for the fun of it. All right, where's my square about centered? It's about right there. Okay, I'm going to make a square in an area that I don't know if I'm getting correct, but we're going to guess it. It's about right here on him, and it creates a square. We're going to go around it in my fake area of a pocket. Right there, and then it goes through those legs. Perfect. I have markers on the fabric, like through the legs of that zombie, up next to this zombie through his arm. So I'm actually doing pretty good. And it goes across the top right here. Oh, and look at that. I met up right with it. And then I echoed around that, right? No, I did not. I went up from here, close to it, and down. Look at that. So right here. Come close to it, and then go over. Yeah.
Tell these people, since it's being so nice, they have to watch next Sunday because we'll be doing a lot of free giveaways.
Yeah, next Sunday we're going to be having a de-stash of quilts and giveaways during the whole process.
It's going to be quilts, bags.
Quilts, bags, anything that I have left in all my for sale stuff. Because I need to de-stash. It's part of my cleaning.
But it's going to be lots of free giveaways. So make sure to tune in next week.
Yep, tune in next Sunday. Oh, that quilt goes on here.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to trim this away, and it's been touching the batting so super much. It's all over my black. And then we're going to cut some lining this size, and we're going to get this bag put together. So I'm going to start by cutting the batting away first. And I'm actually leaving the batting in the seam allowance because it'll make it more sturdier. And I'm just using 80/20. If you guys are curious, it's just a big chunk of 80/20 left over, probably from a long arm quilt. Long arm, it's leftover from the long arm, from a client quilt. Because I just recently did a couple long arm jobs that were 80/20s. So I had a bunch of cutoffs. Usually I would use cotton in a regular bag like this because I don't want it to be too thick, but I kind of like it. It looks cool already. I'm kind of thinking I should stitch in the black though now because it's kind of looking a little puffy. And it's also looking a little covered in batting. Look at how messy this got.
I see.
That's what a lint roller is for.
Yes. We have many of them.
I'll just grab a lint roller when I'm fully done stitching them. And yes, this puts batting into my cutting board. So when you're cutting batting on your mat, either choose a second mat to be for batting only, or clean it out every time because this batting is now in my mat and it's going to get stuck to everything else that I lay on it, especially black fabrics.
Oh my gosh, Lisa gave you $10 too.
Aw, thank you, Lisa. You didn't have to do that.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Oops. Stay. All right, here we go. I'm just going to put a little in like the center of the black. That way there's some stitching. I'm guesstimating where that center is. I'm going straight down to the bottom, and the only reason for that is because I'm chopping the bottom off anyway for my bottom of the bag. But I am going across the center. The other way too. And this way. There we go. Do this one real quick.
How often do you change your blade?
My blade, the Olfa one I just, yeah, the Olfa one I just changed literally like a month ago. This thing is super duper sharp. This one has been like 4 months, 5 months maybe. I keep saying I'm going to change it and then I like space it. But I did do this one because I've been really busy with things lately around here. So I've been using the 60 a lot for cutting yardage.
What's the stabilizer for making bags? Is batting stiff enough?
I don't know, the more you quilt it, the more stiffer it becomes. You can use batting, you can use foam. It depends on the use of the bag. This is just a cool zombie tote. So I didn't need more than just batting. All right. I'm going to put my straps on both of these and we're going to cut lining. So let's cut lining first.
Vicky gave you money too, Vicky Johnson.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. Thank you guys. You guys are spoiling me.
Yes.
I'll
It's weird. Nobody ever really gives us money. It's odd. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm not used to people giving me money.
All right. I'm going to move that. And all I need to do is one piece, honestly, one cut off of here, which will get both of them. Yep. So I'm just going to cut I forgot what size this was already. Inch. I'm going to cut 16 inches off of this. And then it'll make the inside lining both sides. And I think I'm going to cut an extra strip so I can put a slip pocket on the inside as well. So not only is this getting cut, but I'm going to cut an inside lining pocket as well. A slip pocket. That's going to go across the whole entire side. So let's do, how tall is the bag? 16, so this could be like 8. We're just going to cut it 8.5 inches. All right. So I made 8.5 inch cut. This we're going to sew into into one side once we put that together and make a pocket. But for the most, we're going to get this cut first. I'm going to line this up now, and we're cutting it 18.5 inches. So let's cut this side first. Then we're going to come over at 18.5. Flip it over and line it up on the line and come down to 18.5. Because my lining is the same size as the outside of the bag. All right, I'm going to put that up there in that pile.
Oh, tell them if they want to join the group, they got to answer all the questions.
Yeah, if you guys want to join the group, Scott reminded me just now, you guys need to answer the questions to join because we've been getting spammed like super crazy. So if you've been trying to join and you're being denied, then it's probably because you're not answering the questions because we were just spammed like a lot. So, Scott's the one that lets everyone in now.
You don't answer the question.
Yeah, I put him in charge of the group because I've been doing a lot of stuff lately, so I've been kind of too busy to be on Facebook. So he's in charge of it right now. All right, so I'm going to cut my pocket to the same size real quick. And then after it's the same size, we're going to sew on it, the top and the bottom of it, and create a pocket that we're going to create pockets with the pocket because it's going to go from one side to the other. So I'm literally, lay those right there, going to sew across the top and across the bottom because this is going to sit in the pocket. So I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam and it would be nice if I have a better stitch length. Okay. Now I'm going to sew across the bottom. And then we're going to flip this the opposite way. And we're going to press it, which the iron turned itself off.
It does that.
It's just like every other iron. They turn themselves off.
Old Squeak never did. I miss Squeak.
Eric has Squeak's cousin.
I know. Eric stole my Squeak.
Every time we go to the thrift store, I go back. I have like this thing I do every time I go there. I walk down the pajama aisle first because I love pajamas. So if the thrift store has like brand new nightgowns and pajama pants, I'm totally on it every time. Can't have enough pajamas, okay? So I go down the pajama aisle. I go around to the back where they put furniture and stuff, and I always look for like anything that I could use in here, you know, or in the house or something of convenience, you know, like a furniture piece that's usable. Then I go around the back and I look at the sewing machines. Sometimes they have sewing machines that have all the parts, and sometimes they don't even have a foot pedal for the sewing machine. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not paying $23 for a sewing machine that doesn't have the foot pedal, and I'm not going to order one either. So I kind of end up going past them because I'm like, they're not vintage enough and I don't want it. Then I go over straight away to the irons, and I go through all the irons, and they never have another squeak. We've been looking for another squeak.
It is a squawk. He says squawk.
Squawk.
Hello.
Squeak and squawk. So we were at Walmart just recently, like a week ago, and we decided while we were over there in one of the sections, I won't say why because it'll ruin tomorrow's video. So we're looking in the section, there's irons right there, and they have a shark iron, but it is nothing like Squeak used to be. It has all these buttons and everything, and it's weird looking, and the back is shaped all funny. Why can't they just sell Squeak? The original Squeak. It's just a shark iron. Whatever Eric's squawk is the kind of iron Squeak was. So why can't they just sell that still? You know, it makes no sense. But yeah, we look every time we go somewhere trying to find another Squeak because that was the best iron. He may have made noise, lots of it, and made your guys' dogs go crazy, but he was the best iron. Of all the irons I've ever had, Squeak was the best.
That was my opinion.
And he loved it too.
That was my
Scotty's opinion was
your
the best.
Favorite. He was my favorite.
Well, he was my favorite until I got the Super Steam iron.
Yeah,
but yeah.
You like your big beast over there.
We still look for another shark though, just because. So every time I go to the thrift store, I do that same exact thing, and I always look. And then I go over to the fabric section. Lately, they have not had any fabric. I got lucky and got vinyl a couple times and other things, but lately there's not even been vinyl. There's not been anything. There was crocheting stuff and thread last time.
Imitation leather or cork while you're talking about vinyl.
Yes, I use vinyl. I have not used cork yet, honestly. But I do use imitation leather. I actually have a whole bunch of leather scraps my daughter gave me that one of these days I'm going to see what the biggest cuts are and try to make a little wallet or something, but it's small scraps. It's not huge scraps. All right, my pocket is sewn. Now all I need to do is sew across one side or the other, the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. I'm only doing one though because we're going to be laying it in here and creating lines, which will end up covering the bottom anyway. So I'm just going to sew across the top first. So it's still a tube. You could still put your hand through it. It's still a tube, see? But now this tube will be sewn into the seams of the lining. Oops. So we're just going to grab one of the lining pieces. And I'm going to lay my tube with the stitched side on the top, like this. And I'm going to lay it about right here. I'm just putting it on here. It fits perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some markings so that the slit pockets are slit pockets inside of here. So it'll probably be like, I don't know, I think we can get 4 pockets out of this. We're going to come over, grab a marker. I'm going to put one 5 inches. And let's do the side one at 5 inches. And let's put one more in the center.
This is a fabric.
Yes, this is a friction pin. All right, we're going to go right here is half. Right about there. So I'm going to line it up. I'm going to draw these lines out. And then we're going to sew them. So I'm just going to go down 1, across the bottom, up this, back down, across the bottom, up this, back down, across the bottom, up this, and back down, over and up. That seals the sides until I get everything sewn together. I am not pinning this in place either. I am just laying it on here. It shouldn't go anywhere. It's right where I need it to be. I'm going to come across the bottom. Stop at the line. We're going to go up it. Over there. I'm going to flip it back down and go back down it after a couple back stitches. Right back to that bottom, cross the bottom. Go back to the top again. But first I'm going to take a sip of water because my mouth is getting dry from talking so much. Whew. I was thirsty. And yes, I did use the black thread still on this because it'll just help you see where the pocket is.
Right sides together?
No, it is not right sides together. It is right side to right side to right side, the right side sticking up. Because the pocket is 2 pieces. It was a big tube. It's laying on top. Turn it, go across the bottom. Go back to the top again. Turn it around, come back down to the bottom. Right there. Go across the bottom. And up the side. And that side is going to be sewn into the seam, but for now, it has pockets. So there's 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 super large pockets. Why? Because it's a super large bag, so it needs super large pockets.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Okay. I'm heating my lines away real quick. I'm just trying to get rid of my friction pin. It's under the black, so it takes a minute to get it all out because it's under my thread. And it's cotton thread. It's not going to burn, but if it was polyester, it wouldn't burn either way. So it's not with an iron. All right. And make sure that this is upright. So the black line right here and the hoops, those are going to be the top. The hoops, not the hoops, the holes. Put that there. We're going to grab these guys that are now covered in batting. I'm just keeping my zombies warm, that's all. And what we're going to do, we're going to put our straps on. So one strap goes here and one strap goes here.
Any ideas of how to do a memory quilt that the shirts are all colors of plaid? She was thinking of doing a log cabin. Any ideas?
A log cabin with t-shirts?
Yeah.
Those are some
Wow.
large log cabin blocks then, unless you're cutting the shirts up into nothing, you know, into strips.
So what's your idea?
I have no idea for that. I don't know what I would do. I would just make log cabin blocks then, but those are some thick blocks though, because you're interfacing all those t-shirts as well.
Well, instead of
And
log
that's a
cabin,
lot of
what would you
seams.
do? That's what she's asking.
Honestly, I would do puzzle style. I do puzzle style the most because that's what my clients want. They want as much of the shirts as I can get into it. And the only way to do that, instead of having, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 shirts across by 5 shirts down, having just a big shirt with the picture in the center, I cut out the pictures in the center with a little bit of room to sew around them, and I make puzzles with the rest of all the fabric, mixing it all together. If you watch my it's not the Angel's Hug one. What is the other one? It's a baby quilt. It's in time lapse, but you'll see the general idea. I interface all the baby clothes, and then I just cut out all the pictures, and I use all the extra fabric to just puzzle it all together. It's super fun that way, and you get more clothing used up in it. All right, I'm going to put my strap on here, and I already have markings because I stitched about 2 inches away from the black, and both of them are pretty much equal. I think I did really good with lining those up. They are like, oops, right there. They are literally exact. So I'm going to lay my strap pieces on the inside of my stitch line, and I'll tell you guys how far away that is, but they're pretty much exact for me. So that's 4 and 1, 2, 3/8 away from the edge on this side, and I'm not going to even pin it, but we're just going to see how equal this is. 4 and 3/8 from the other side as well. So I did really good on that.
Do you know the price on that iron?
This smaller iron I think is like 120. The one that has the ceramic base I think is 160. I think the ceramic base one does cost a little bit more than the what one is my model called? NI-WL600.
Where would that stuff be at?
Sewing Machines Plus does sell it. Yeah, they sell the ceramic one, and so does no, not Connecting Threads. Fat Quarter Shop I think has it.
Well, let's plug them in.
All right, I'm going to stitch this on here back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth a few times on the outside of the bag. And then I'm going to make sure that it's laying exactly, you know, so that when it's lifted up, it's laying, it's not twisted or folded or anything. I'm going to put this side on, and I'm going to do that back and forth thing a few times. And then I'm going to repeat with the other side, and then we're going to cut out the bottoms of everything and start putting this thing together. Let's see how exact these were. I'm going to measure this one. Oops, right there. Duh. Oh, this is 4 1/2, so I wasn't exactly 4 3/8.
Close.
It's close,
Well,
very
that's
close.
Close to 4 3/8.
Yeah.
That's close, honey.
Let's lay that right there. And 4 3/8. So I was off on one side of this whole entire thing. That's it.
Yeah, but by 1/8.
By 1/8 of an inch. Yep.
That's not much. 1/8 of an inch is not much.
So my eyeballing it. Oops. My eyeballing it is pretty darn good. I do that on the long arm too. I eyeball it a lot of stuff because I free motion quilt. I broke thread. It happens. All right, let's thread that. Go over this one more time. And put this one on here. Did I go on the inside of that? Oh, I did. Did I go on the outside of that? I went on the inside. Went on the inside. Okay, good. Ooh, I almost screwed that up. Oops, let's make sure it's not twisted. Nope, it's perfect. Oh, well, that's why I'm breaking thread, because I'm out of bobbin. I'm glad I made 2 bobbins before today's live. And just know that black signature thread is very dusty, because that is what brand we are using today, is Signature. That's black. Come on, right there. There we go. All right. Ta-da. Let's cut out our squares on the bottom. And since it's a tote, we don't want it to be ginormous. We don't want a big, huge bottom to the bag. We don't want, I mean, we want it to be somewhat sizable, but we don't want it enormous. So we're going to cut, normally I cut like 2-inch on totes, but this is a pretty big tote. So we're going to go with 3-inch. We're not going to go 4-inch because that's an 8-inch bottom. So we're going to go 3-inch. And since there's batting in the seam allowance, it won't be as chunky. So we're going to go ahead and cut out a 3-inch square on the bottom of all 4 corners of the 2 tops and of the 2 linings. There's one. I'm going to cut a 3-inch square on this side.
It's very dusty and it will turn your machine black.
Yep, it leaves black marks, yes. I'm not really tight with my left hand like that to come up right to my previous stitching without going over. Okay, there's that one. So there's 3-inch cut on each corner here. Let's cut out 3 inches on each corner here. Right up to it. Did I do it that time? Okay, good. I don't need that. It's like right there. And this corner. Perfect. And now for the bottom corners, make sure that the lining that you added your pocket to, that you're going on the bottom, and our pocket is up high enough to get a nice 3-inch square down here with plenty of room for a seam allowance. There's one 3-inch square. I'll move the ruler out of the way so that my chest isn't hitting it. Is my video working?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My phone is in, but the video is.
There. Oops, get it off of there. Right there. And this one doesn't matter what is top and bottom because this side we didn't add anything to. We're just cutting a 3-inch square. This should be a nice, good tote, though. I already like it because it's zombies.
And it's awesome.
And they're cool. They're really, really kind of detailed little zombies on this fabric. All right. Next thing we're going to do.
What light colors would look good with a plaid log cabin, do you think?
White, black, gray.
Light colors.
Light. I mean, yeah, light. White or gray or tan, taupe, cream, anything with a log cabin, honestly.
Plaid.
With plaid.
The t-shirts are plaid. They're putting up plaid.
I would use white. All right, where are we at? We're going to sew one piece of lining right side together to this one, and one piece of lining right side together with the other one. Actually, we could do the top turn way. Let's do the top turn way where we sew the lining and then we sew the outside of the bag. and then put them right sides together and turn it. All right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put sometimes I do it differently. So we're going to take the lining and we're going to put them right sides together, and I'm going to sew down the sides, cross the bottom, and cross the other side. And I'm also going to make my corners, but I'm going to leave the top not sewn. Right, because we're going to drop it in to the lining, into the bag. I couldn't think of the word. Sorry, it wasn't coming to me. So I'm going to sew like 3/8 of a seam allowance. I know you guys are like, why so big? But that's because I want my lining a little bit smaller than the outside of my bag. I tend to do that on all my bags. Just sits better. I'm going to go across the bottom. And I struggle with straight line sewing, so I'm literally trying to eyeball this. Yeah, I don't leave an opening on the bottom because I leave the opening at the top. I'm talking to myself, don't mind me. I almost am forgetting how to do a tote because I don't do totes all the time. All right, now we're going to sew these right sides together. And again, I'm not sewing the top, I'm just sewing the bottom. The bottom, the sides and the bottom. Sorry, my brain. And then I'm going to sew the corners afterwards. But on this, I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to line it up and hope that it stays a 1/4 inch. I am going through quite a bit of layers because I do have the batting also. Everything's nice and lined up. All right.
How much smaller is the lining from the tote?
It's the same size on this. I just made a 3/8 inch of a seam allowance instead, and I'll trim away the excess. Making it slightly smaller when you put it together. Come on, stay. Where most people use pins, I ignore it. I got no pins and no clips planned for this bag today, but if I have to, then I'll have to. Alrighty, so here is the bottom of the bag. Now I'm just going to open it up. See, we're gonna create the bottom of the bag, and this is not very wide. It looked like it's gonna be, but it's really not. I'm gonna line up my 2 side seams, put one way, one the other. This is such a wide opening. Again, I'm not pinning or anything. It should just line right up, 1/4 inch seam. And I do back stitch the entire way because I want a lot of structure to the bag, or seam wise. So I back stitch back and forth as I go. Okay, that one I made that way, so that one goes this way. Come on. Lay the way I put you. Thank you. Again, I'm not pinning because it's such a big, from one side to the other that I can hold it nice and flat. Just keeping everything super flat. And it is super duper stitched. So here, This is the outside of my very now batting-filled tote that needs to be brushed with a lint brush, but for now I can just get put together the rest of the way. So far, here's my tote. It holds its own, so let's get this lining complete. We're going to put maybe I was supposed to leave a hole in the lining. No, I'm leaving a hole at the top. That's what I'm doing. All right, we're going to do this. Oh, let me cut away this extra seam allowance real quick, guys. Before I forget, because I sewed it at 3/8, I'm just going to take this seam allowance down. That way it's not so bulky in there, inside the bag. Just taking it down to 1/4 inch. Okay.
They all like it that you talk to your stuff while sewing. They don't feel alone because they do it too.
Hey, I'm all about just being whatever I do in real life is what I do here, except I'm usually talking to the machine while singing. So I'll be singing a song on the radio, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, I'm like, you stupid fabric, why do you got to go that way? I didn't want you that way. And I'll talk to it like it's my best friend. I left Scott, and he's like, who are you talking to? I'm not on the phone. I'm talking to the fabric.
Okay, I talk to myself.
Yep.
Smartest
So,
person in the world, talk to.
Yep. I have the best opinions to myself. Yep. All right, so again, I'm still, even though I trimmed those sides away, I'm still sewing 3/8 of a seam allowance down here on this section of the lining. And I'm lining it up. I'm not using any pins. Works out perfect for me. Okay, let's box this one now. And I also pay attention when I do linings. If I folded this part of the lining to that side, then this side also needs to go in that same position. So if it's going to the right, when I'm looking at it, then it needs to go to the right. That way, once I get it into the bag, it all wants to lay flat in that one direction. I do that with the bag itself too. So whatever direction that lining is going or the bag piece is going, you want your other side of it to go the same direction. And that's why some people pin. I don't bother sometimes, especially on something this wide of a distance. But just know, either pinning or not, you're still making sure one is going the opposite way. And then I'm just going to snip away that excess. Let's just do it freehand. Right there. And this one. Right here. Just getting rid of the excess seam. And now we're going to put the outside of the bag into the lining. So the lining is going to be right side in and the bag is right side out. Honestly, it doesn't matter which way you do it. You can have the bag right side out going into the wrong side out of the lining. It doesn't matter as long as the right sides are together of the bag and the lining. And I want my pocket, so here, where's my slip pocket? That's my slip pocket on here. I want my slip pocket on the inside, the opposite side of it. So the bald side that has no pocket is the side I'm going to put in here. That way there's no two pockets on the same side. Keeps it from getting too thick. We're going to put these right sides together, get those handles up in there. Get everything tucked in there all the way. And we're going to center, let's knock that down so you can see, here's a seam right here, and here's a seam right here. We're going to nest those together, and this is the part I do use clips. We're going to clip the whole top all the way around this bag. This is the part that you should clip. That way it stays, or else you're going to be lining it up all the way around, and it's just going to get annoying. And
What's your cutter before you cut yourself?
yeah, I know. I did the other day. I just barely tapped it, and it got me right there. I was like reaching, and the blade just touched me, and it cut me. They're very sharp. All right, so we're just going to line this up. I'm lining up my ends. Again, my seam on this side wants to come towards me, so we're going to put that top towards me on this side and the bottom towards the other way. That keeps the bulk less bulkier because you're making all the seams opposite. Huh? Sure. All right, now we're going to pin, making sure that my straps are all the way in. You don't want the straps all the way out. You want them in, like this. And now I'm just going to start pinning all the way around. Lining it up, flattening it out, making sure my straps stay down and out of the way. I'm actually going to clip where they are so that I know, because we're going to be leaving an opening up here at the top anyway. We're just pinning. I don't know why I'm saying pinning. This is clipping, not pinning. We're clipping it all the way around at the top. And then one side or the other, it doesn't matter what side in between the straps is where I'm going to leave an opening for when we turn it out. Because I almost forgot how to do that until just, 5 seconds ago. Some people leave an opening in the lining, but I can do it either way. It doesn't matter, top or bottom, it doesn't matter. You can do it however suits you and your way of sewing. So I'm going to put a pin here, a clip here. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying pins. And a clip on this side. And I'm not going to sew right here because I want to be able to turn my bag out. So I know that this is the section I'm not going to sew. So I'm going to start right here, stitch all the way around to this side, and then back stitch and stop. And then when we pull the bag out through this hole, then all we have to do is seal it because we're top stitching the whole thing anyway. All right. So now I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, 1/4 to 3/8. The only reason why I say that is because it depends on the thickness of whatever you use. I have my batting all the way up to the top. So mine is going to be really tricky to keep it at a 1/4 inch, so I might as well do a 3/8. But if you didn't put your batting or your interfacing or your foam or whatever it is you used all the way to the top, then just do your 1/4 inch seam, because when you fold it over to itself, it's best to have less seam around the top because you're top stitching it anyway, and it's less bulk to go through. So we're going to go ahead, just lay this here and stitch all the way around the whole entire thing. And the clips are holding it in place. So I'm just going to line it up. I'm leaving my opening. I'm also giving an extra stitch where I have the straps, just because it's like super important to, have nice, strong, sturdy straps, depending on what you're putting in here. Oops, come on. And I just adjust as I go.
Did you have put binding around it?
Yeah, you could have put it one side into the other and bound the top of it. Yes, you could have done that, but you would have had to do your straps a little bit differently. Your straps would have had to come from further down and been tacked down.
She's talking around the top instead of. Did you have put binding around?
Yes, but again, the straps would come out differently if you were to bind it. Your straps would have to have come up from the bottom to have binding around the top, because or else you're folding your straps permanently down. So just know that your straps will have to be differently. They'd be sewn onto the outside of the bag differently. 5 seconds of fame. Thumper needs his fame, so give him his love now. All right.
What is that Mama working on?
I'm making zombies, Thumper.
What is that, Mama?
Zombies. They have bad breath, just like you.
Hey. Hey, you can't make fun of the boys' breath.
All right. All of my sewing is done. Now to pull, be very careful. I did back stitch at my sides right here. Now to pull the whole bag right side out. I'm going to start by pulling the bag itself out of the hole, and then we'll turn the rest. Let's get the bag through the hole first, the outside of the bag. I'm not trying to rip it or pull too much because I don't want to rip my lining fabric, which has happened to me a bazillion times when I started doing totes. When I first started doing them, I ripped a lot of bags. A whole heck of a lot of bags. So let's get that out first. Now I'm going to start shoving lining through the hole, just like that, and then we're going to tuck the lining into the bag. I don't want to hit my microphone. And now all I need to do is fold all this over and press it nice and flat all the way. You can pin it or clip it if you want to, actually. But I actually iron it all the way down so that I can iron this opening while I'm at it. So it's just like a self-bind quilt. You just fold it, or like when you're doing pot holders or whatever. This closure way is pretty much that. So I'm just going to fold it and then make sure that my seam allowance is there. And then I'm going to iron it down, and then we'll clip it in place. So that way it stays ironed down. But we're going to iron this whole entire opening. So we got to wait for that iron to re-warm back up. Okay, done with that. Done with that. Oh, and if you were at that other point, I forgot, you can add a magnetic snap. I totally forgot I was going to put a magnetic snap on this, and I already tucked it all the way out. But yeah, I was going to add a magnetic snap. So before you add everything, you would put your magnetic snap on your lining where you wanted it. I totally forgot that part. That's okay. This can be a magnetic snap free bag. I could reach in there and attach one, but that's going to be a lot of work because I'll be pulling it right side out so I can press the thing on and everything. This is just an open tote. Alrighty. So I'm just straightening it out so that the top and the bottom are equal with each other, and I'm just going to iron it. And I kind of just roll it and iron.
Oh, that's a good idea. Jody said you could use blood red for the lining. That's a good idea.
I thought about it. I was actually talking to Teresa Louise prior to coming on live because we talk all the time. And I said, I wished I had fabric that was white or black with paint splatter look, like red paint. It would look like blood splatter, because that would have been a perfect accent, because there is splatter all over this gray, you know. But I don't have anything with blood splatter, the look of it, or paint splatter, which would have been awesome, though, if I had some, but I don't. Okay, I'm pressed all the way up to the fold on that one. I'm going to go this way, and then I'll do the folding of my closure. Just going right up to it for now. Come on. Just flattening everything out. I'm trying to make my top and bottom equal. Really? I'll have to look. Because I have more zombie fabric, so it'd be nice to make more bags after this. I really thought about it too. I looked through all of my fabric. Not even a polka dot would have looked right. I really, really wished I had splatter. Something that's splattery looking. All right, let me get this opening closed, or at least pressed, so that way it's ready to be closed properly. I'm just going to fold it, creating my seam allowance. I'm doing one side first, the outside of the bag first, and then I'm going to match the lining right up to it. But I want that nice and crisp first, so it stays down, and then we're going to match the lining right up to it, fold it on there, and then press it. That way it's nice and equal all the way around the whole top of the bag. Heather, I thought you were not buying any more fabric. Trying to stay debt-free. It's hard, though, because Walmart is cheaper than everywhere, right?
Yes. That's what we find anyway.
Yeah. All right, so that's ready. I'm not even going to clip it. I'm actually just going to start sewing 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way around. And I do this for me because I like it. I go around it a second time, 1/4 of an inch lower than that. So I'm just going to...
Could you do a button closure, Jane asked?
I could put in a button closure, but I don't like to hand sew, and I don't know where I put my buttons. I could, though, but I'm not going to. I'm trying to keep this simple, simple, simple. It's a nice open bag. All right, so I'm going to close it now with a nice stitch all the way around. 1/8 of an inch.
I got it when it was $1 a yard months ago.
Oh.
That's a great deal. We'd have bought the whole bolt.
Yep, I would have bought the whole bolt. Anytime Walmart has $1 a yard, I buy the rest. Whatever's on the bolt, I buy it. Unless it's ugly, then I don't buy it. I usually buy the stuff that I know that would sell in a quilt, or that I would make into a quilt that I could donate, or that I could make into a children's quilt to donate. Or make a cool bag that I could sell, you know. I think about the future of what I'm doing with the product. So most of the time, I get a yard. Or, I mean, the whole bolt. If it's $1 a yard. Of course, I did that when we went to sew. Yeah, there was those couple bolts that had, remember, just a couple left, and they were like $3.97 or something a yard, and I bought the rest of the bolt.
I don't remember. I just stayed in their little clearance room, and that's where the stuff we got.
Yeah, the bolts that were in the clearance room. That's what I'm talking about. I haven't done it at my local quilt shop, though, because they never really have it.
Does fabric wash well, or does it shrink?
All fabric shrinks. Walmart or not Walmart, quilt shop, they all shrink. If it's 100% cotton, it's going to shrink. It doesn't matter where you buy it. If it's 100% cotton, it's going to shred, no matter where you buy it. If it's 100% cotton, it's going to do the same thing. They just do it at different rates. So I have not noticed a difference between, and I've blended Walmart fabric with fabric from a quilt store, you know, so I've not had any difference in anything. I've not noticed any difference in quilting on the fabrics either, so just because it comes from a cheap store doesn't mean it's cheap. It just means it's budget friendly. But it's not going to fall apart. My kids' first few quilts were made with Walmart fabric, and they've been washed hundreds of times because they were littler when I made their first few quilts. All right, I just need to go around it one more time, but that's so far. Oops, thread right there. I'm going to go around it one more time because I like it. It's a decorative stitch, kind of like what I do when I do zipper pockets. I always go around the zipper pocket a second time. I like that. I think it looks good. So 1/4 inch away from that original line, I do a second line. In my whole time of quilting, there's only one fabric I hate the most. I absolutely would not ever buy it. And it's called Country Classics. And it's sold at Joann's. That is the thinnest. It's like sewing with a 60-40. And I think 60-40 cotton polyester fabric holds up better than those Country Classics at Joann's. That was the most ridiculous fabric I have ever bought. It was nothing but ripping, tearing. It did not quilt nice. It was just it was horrible. It was see-through as crazy. Yeah, I didn't like it. So that's one fabric that I don't recommend you buy. That's personal opinion, guys. Some of you might like it. I don't know, but I don't.
Well, they could have changed it since we had it.
They could have changed it in the last.
Company might have realized.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just a bad.
It's been 6 years since I bought this stuff. Where's my thing? Oh, there it is. But yeah, it was. Ugh, I didn't like it whatsoever. No way. All right, let's get all this fuzz off of here, some way or another. Come on. I guess. If I can get all this off of here. I think I'll wait. Yep. All right, this is not coming off with that. I'm gonna have to use an actual lint roller, the actual rolly kind of roller, because that's not getting it off. That's just spreading the fuzz. All right, there's my tote. The handles are plenty good size. You can see when they hang down, they don't touch the whole bottom. I should have.
From the cat, it was from the baddie.
Oh, that's not from the cat. No, that's not cat hair. He doesn't touch my fabric, and yeah, when he's in here, he's on his thing only. No, that's from the batting, because I used 80-20 batting, the cotton poly batting. So yeah, it's I was touching and rubbing it on the black, and it's like it picked it up really good, and it doesn't want to come off. So it'll come off with the regular roller, though. It always does. It's kind of like when I clean up when I'm not long arming a job to keep cat hair off of everything, because I try to keep everything as much pet free as possible. Plus my cat stays shaved. But when he's not shaved, and either way, when I have a long arm job, I float the quilt tops. And when they're not being quilted, like if I'm taking a break and 90% of the quilt is hanging on the floor, I actually roll it up onto itself and then put it up on the frame so that Thumper cannot get on it at all, because he doesn't jump on my long arm. And every time, if there is a quilt, I don't care whose quilt it is, if you have black background fabric and you're using cotton or 80-20 batting or even wool batting or anything, it ends up on the top of your quilt. And it is very hard to get out. And I'm always swiping it away, but once it gets to the wash, it usually comes out all the way. But yeah, I get it all over the place because I'm always rubbing batting against the quilt tops, especially the ones with black, and I do a lot of black quilts. All right, so you guys, I want you to see how the lining, having sewn the lining bigger, sits in that bag. There is no sag at all. It's not sagging. It's actually fit in there perfectly from corner to corner, and it's sitting nicely. I have I don't know how well you're going to see these, but I'm going to make them open so that you can see. The pockets are in there for the slip pockets. So they're kind of right here on the side and then in the back right here, which is separate because the other pocket is on this side. So here's the front slip pocket. So you can put your keys in it or your cell phone or whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and probably put a button of some sort or something on here. I don't know. We'll think about it. But either way, there's that. And it sits perfectly. It carries perfectly. It sits on the arm just right. Look at that. Yeah. And that's not enormous. It's actually the perfect size tote, honestly. I think it's perfect. The bottom isn't too big. It's not too wide at 3 inches from both sides. If we would have done 4, it would have been this much bigger. So just know that it would have been a little bit bigger. That's perfect.
Would you do a tutorial on a super tote with pockets on the outside?
A super tote, like pockets all the way around it? I don't know. I've not done those.
I don't know. It's a super tote with pockets on the outside. I don't know how many pockets.
I have not done any of those, but I'll think about it. I have a lot of tutorial stuff to do, and I'm doing a sew along right now, so I'm kind of when it comes to tutorials at the moment.
Almost every day of the week.
Yeah. This week there's not very many videos, so there's a video tomorrow, and that's about it so far. But yeah.
We don't have a long arm video this week?
Nope. No long arm video this week. I haven't filmed it yet. That's why.
Oh, you didn't put a name tag on it.
No, I did not put a tag on it either, because, you know, I was trying to show you guys how to make a tote. I don't remember all those things when I'm dedicated to making something. A zombie tote.
What did you use for the straps?
I used just 4-inch strips by 20-inch, 4 by 26.5-inch pieces, 4-inch by 26.5, folded in half. I cut 1 7/8-inch interfacing, this stuff right here, the Pellon 911, to put in the center. After folding it, I put it in. Go back in the video and see. I do it that way because I still want the strap to be floppy. I don't want it to be hard and crispy. I want it to be floppy. I don't know what it is. I like a floppy strap. It fits better in, where is it at? Give me 2 seconds to find it.
Right. Says you can put a spring snap closure on it.
Yep. So there's these things when you make bags that you're making slide handles, like for adjustable straps. These things right here, if you interface the whole entire thing, and this is what I noticed because when I first started making bags, I actually was interfacing the whole piece. I realized they were too thick when going through these slide hooks. So I stopped doing it and started doing it only in the center, and I found out I had better results sliding my fabric through these hooks, even when you're adjusting your bag, than when I was doing the whole thing, and it was more stiff and hard to get it through. So just know that I didn't mean to scare him. The zombie fabric fell on the floor. That's probably what scared him, because it was right here.
June is confused how you can make the lining smaller and you don't have to pleat it when you sew it to the outside.
Because of the way I sew it, that's why. You don't have to pleat it if you sew the lining with the bag. If you go in with it. The lining was sewn at 3/8 of an inch, and the outside of the bag I sewed at 1/4 of an inch, even though they were cut exactly the same size. Then I got rid of the bulk on the lining itself, so it should lay perfectly in there, perfectly, each and every time, with no sagging. If I would have done 1/4 inch on the lining and 1/4 inch on the outside of the bag, they would be touching each other so much that it would cause a bulky sag inside the bag. You don't want that. So I always sew the lining with a bigger seam allowance than the outside of the bag on every single bag I've been doing. Ever since I realized that all the insides of my bags were sagging that bad, I said, no, enough is enough. Let's find a way to do it. So I started sewing the lining smaller than the outside of the bag. And sometimes I even cut them smaller depending on the style bag I'm making. And then I just sew in, down, and around. So it always makes it less sag, and you're not worried about, you know, when you go to pick something up out of your bag, you're not like grabbing the lining with it because there's so much sag. You don't want that. You don't want to grab your lining with the bag. You want that lining to stay in there nicely without having any lumps and bumps in it. So, all right. Well, that's it. Zombie tote has been made. I can put a ton of stuff in it, that's for sure, because it's nice and big. I do need to roll it, obviously, because of the black and the batting, but all in all, even using batting, you can see it holds its own. So, and when it's filled, it doesn't really matter because it's a tote. So, yep, that's great. It works fine. That's what I wanted, was a nice little cute tote made of zombies. Zombies. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get off of here. It's been 2 hours. Yeah.
5 minutes.
2 hours and 5 minutes, and I'm trying to keep my live streams under 2 hours, not only to respect you guys all the way on the East Coast and in other countries right now, and those that are Central Time, but of course your time is changing as of next week, I think. But I'm also trying to respect the time of mine and my husband, so that way we can have, you know, our evenings to hang out and stuff. So, and I've been really busy and not spending enough time with my husband. He needs more time with me. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you for hanging out and making a zombie tote. Hopefully when you watch the replay, you could just write down the directions. Super cinch. Very easy to make.
Our time does not change.
And no, our time does not change here in Arizona. So when your guys' time changed, here's a reminder. When your guys' time changed, mine won't. I will still be on at 5 p.m. my time, which East Coast time will be 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. and Central will be 6 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. So just know you guys will, it'll be an hour earlier than you were watching. So just remember, my 5 is always my 5. Anyways, thank you guys. See you guys next week. Bye.
Good night. Have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Do 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 do. Boo boo boo.